when I grow up. I do not want to be like Bailey and Curly. No way. I have higher standards than that.
They make me laugh. At the same time, scare the shit out of me. What will they say next?
Welcome to the roller coaster world of Bailey and Curly. Unfiltered. While this voice may be artificial, the unfiltered musings from our hosts certainly are not. Make yourself comfortable, grab a drink, and let's get unfiltered. Here's your hosts, Bailey and Curly.
Hey there, and welcome to Bailey and Curly Unfiltered. And if we were all thinking 2021 was going to be this amazing brand new year, guess what? It's a case of, hey, hold my beer. What a fucking week, Bailey. How are you, Bailey?
Week.
What a week.
Oh, mate, I'm frustrated, but I'm good. How are you?
I am sensational. And who would have thought, right? Here we were thinking, yeah, we've got this down. We understand what it's all about now. 2021, I can work within lockdowns, isolation, standing on dots, whatever we call it. I've got it all. And then we see what happened in America and then what happened in Brisbane with a 3-day short, sharp, no one knew what the fuck was going on lockdown. So let's 2021, have you seen all those social media memes saying, hey, 2021, I'm not going to book, I'm not going to take up the offer, but I've taken the free trial and I don't like it. So
the only one I've seen is there's two clowns on stairs, and it's like one of them sort of like got his arm out, and it says this is 2020 showing 2021 what the year will be like. Yeah,
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, that's a good one,
mate. What a year! So of course we're going to talk a little bit about that, but
and we're 12
amongst
days
other
in.
things,
and we're 12 days in,
mate. I'm like everyone. I face the world every day with a little bit of hope and optimism, and lo and behold, it just gets hard sometimes. It just gets hard to really understand what the hell is going on. And I'm sure that we're not on our Pat Malone. So Bailey, you wanted to talk a little bit. How's your social media engagement? How's the strategy? How's the pressure? How's the comparison? All of that stuff. And what's happening?
Well, social pressure, mate. It's a big thing, and maybe because I've just, I turned 30 last year. Maybe this is what fucking 30 is about. Like,
mate, you are looking old.
I'm looking old, am I? Thanks.
Says the guy who's 55, sitting in a hot box.
I just feel like every fucking second conversation is when I'm going to buy a house. And there's this big fucking stigma of like renting is bad because it's dead money and you're paying off someone else's mortgage and all this fucking shit. And I wrote something today, and I posted it too.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna read it. It says the bed I wrote this. The bed you sleep in, the water from the shower, and the food you eat is all the same whether you rent or own. In brackets, huge debt to the bank, the place you live in. To the people with huge debt, shut the fuck up and let people rent. Like, I think it's the fact that I'm creative and I'm chasing my dreams to be a musician.
Yep.
And I'm not in this fucking 9-to-5 world. Oh, I can't wait to retire to do all the things that I'm like why? I just don't understand that mindset. Why not live for today?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Someone we mutually friend, I won't say his name, but his mum was a school teacher, retired, and then dropped dead a few months later.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
all you ever have guaranteed in life is today. That's it. So,
That's it.
So many people make plans for the future, and, planning for the future is important, of course. But everyone has a different definition of what that future is and what success is for them, I and funny you're talking about this, because I just put on Prime, and I started watching a documentary about a guy who lives in a van in the United States, and there's a lot of people now just doing that, just getting a mobile van and the freedom of being able to hit the road whenever they want to. I'm sure that they've got some form of income coming in for them to be able to do that, but haven't got too far into it because the wife wanted to watch something else, and you know what they say. Happy life. So, but it's interesting because their definition of success or what life looks like is vastly different to what, you know, the majority is, you know. So is there really a lot of pressure on that for you, Bales?
Fucking oath, man. And I can see where people are coming from when my rent is going to someone else's mortgage. But then again, it's the saving to a house deposit is also very lot.
Yeah, yep.
I can't imagine living on your own. It's not just as easy to go get a fucking loan tomorrow without a $50K house deposit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure there's more that goes into just the house deposit, the stamp duty, all that shit. Yeah. I love the freedom that I've lived. The last 10 years I've lived out of home. I've lived in every living situation almost possible. And if I want to leave Melbourne in a month, I can do that if I want. I don't have to worry about selling the house and putting it on the market. And you know, I'm probably spending a house deposit on this music project, and you know, it's killing mum watching me like go through this and struggle for music, but it will be worth it once this music out, and people will see why I'm spending so much time, so much money, because it's sort of like you know my dreams, you know my passion, but at the same time I'm still sort of convincing you how bad I want it, and when this comes out, you'll see, my friends will see, because in my head I know it. And like someone said to me the other day, when you're going to buy a house, and this has come from someone who's just about to retire, you know, it's probably easy for like a 60-year-old, someone who's twice my age, to say that, because that's what he did. And you know, I don't go around saying, why have you bought a house? But I'll flip it on the other side. People with massive house loans go around criticising people who rent. And I feel like a lot of people do end up getting either into a relationship and getting a mortgage together because they think, okay, that's what I've got to do now. I'm in my 20s. And I remember being 18. You're going to laugh at this. I remember being 18 and thinking... so long ago.
So long ago.
I remember being 18 and thinking, when I'm 25, I'll probably be married with a kid. Because when you're 18, that's sort of what you think.
Yeah.
Mate, at 25, I had a sugar mummy. I was so far from kids and marriage as possible.
All right.
And I look back at that now and think, what a time. That was awesome. Yeah. And here I am, 30 and single, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like, whether you've been with someone for 2 years or 10 years, the amount of time that has gone by shouldn't make a decision for you to, okay, now it's time to get engaged. Now it's time to have kids and all this shit. And people, they get sucked into that trap, and fuck, I've been there, man. I feel like this music thing I'm doing now, I feel like I could have been doing it 5 years ago, but I got into the trap with, okay, this is my job, this is what I got to do, I've got to save for a house deposit, I've got to do this, and all that stuff. And it's probably a generational thing as well, Curly.
Yeah, well, the pressure was always there. I mean, just as you've been talking, I've been thinking about, you know, I got married at 25, so we won't go down that path.
Different path.
So, but I remember my mate. I mean, we left school, we started hanging out, we were doing going to see lots of bands, living that sort of a lifestyle, and we were living in this dingy house opposite the cemetery at Toowong here in Brisbane, and you know, it was a great house. We had some great parties there, and it was just awesome. And I remember him saying to me once, he said, "Do you want to go halves and buy a house?" And I said, why the fuck would you want to do that? I mean...
Sounds like, do you want to go half in a pizza?
Yeah. He tried to explain it that, now's a good time and we got good income, all this
I
sort of
swear
stuff.
they say that every year. It's a good time.
And when I think back now, I sort of wish that I'd listened to Sack and said, let's do it. But it just wasn't on my radar. It just wasn't something that I thought was, what I needed to do. So, and when Sharon and I first looked at buying a house in Townsville, I remember the first house we actually signed a contract for was $74,000 in West End, which is a suburb in Townsville, just underneath Castle Hill, and we shit ourselves, because what that meant was about a loan for I think it was about $65,000, and I'd never been in debt outside of paying off a car, which I was a bit like my mind was a bit like a lay-by. So it was just it's just interesting. But now we are quite comfy where we are, I guess, and we've got a house but it's different courses. I mean, I'd hate... my kids are still at home, and they're not far off your age, and the reality is I can't see them. I mean, I can see one getting the deposit together for a house, but I can't. You can't. The housing market's ridiculous. Yeah. So take the pressure away. I mean, what you're paying in rent is for the roof over your head. And that's the way you got to look at it.
Yeah, and it's the freedom. Like I said, I can move if I want, and I've done that the last 10 years. I've lived in multiple places in Hobart and then multiple places in Canberra. Yeah. And now here I am in Melbourne, and it's not just... If I bought a house, knowing me or anyone who probably does buy a house, they would want to renovate it and do this and do that. There's always something, and I'm like... I don't want to... forget about my music, because I've done that before. I feel like I've been asleep at the wheel before with my music. Yeah. And I've woken up, I'm like, fuck, all right, I need to get back into this.
Well, I also know that, we're now in that stage where we're thinking 5 years we'll sell the house, the kids will have moved out, finally, and, we're looking to change our lifestyle, move into a unit, maybe closer to the city. But we want to rent first so we can try the lifestyle. We don't want to buy because we may not like it. So that's the advantage of being able to rent. You can say, oh, shit, okay, I've signed that lease. I've got 6 months. I can sit that out, but I really don't like this because of the noise from the neighbours or whatever the case may be. So we've got some contingencies up our sleeve. So Matt, if you're not ready to buy, you're not ready to buy, and rent's not dead money because it's giving you a place to call home and
exactly
a place where you've got a roof over your head.
It's like calling petrol dead money. Why? Like petrol, your car needs to go, but you're not getting that money back.
Well, it's like everything. It's like the can of beer that I just drank. Well, we know that's probably dead money, but by the same token, it gives you... You're paying money for something.
Yeah, exactly.
And in the case of rent, you're paying for the security of having your own premises, your house.
Yeah, and there's a few people at work, and I said this to a girl I worked with the other day. She lives in an apartment building down in South Bank in Melbourne. Yeah. And she lives in a 2-bedroom apartment. There's like a gym, a pool. And I said to her when I worked, I said, the last 10 years, when I moved out of home 10 years ago, I've lived in every living situation. But the one living situation I never did was in an apartment, which I wish I had done, to have a pool. I'd love to have a pool, but now I'm in a 4-bedroom. Now I'm in a 4-bedroom house. I'm not going to give that up just so I can do it, because you never know. In the track, I could come into some money, music could take off, I could have the money I want, and I might go and buy an apartment in the city just to stay in the city if I go out for dinner or whatever. So, everything's temporary and everything can happen as well.
Absolutely. And once you've bought a house with a pool, you'll understand the amount of money you put into your pool. So I can tell you, the only person that's swum in my pool for probably the last 3 to 4 years has been my dog, right? Milton.
Yeah.
And so the care that I've put into the pool previous to this summer was pretty negligible, and this year I said to myself, I need to get this sorted. So we got a new filter. I've just spent probably 2 hours out there every day now. Pool's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, but I had to laugh because I've got steps that go into my pool, and it, for whatever reason, what ultimately happened was the filter shit itself, and the filter's got sand or stuff in it, and it just shit the sand into the pool. So on the bottom of the pool, I've got this like layer of sludge right around it, and with that, of course, comes a pretty ugly sort of water. So when I go to my first step, I couldn't even see my feet. That's how bad the water was. It's beautiful now, absolutely beautiful. But geez, it's taken some time, some money, and just to make sure that I've got a pool that I can swim in. And now that I've even got the water balance, my dog doesn't swim in it anymore because he can smell the chlorine. So I think he's now sort of thinking, because it smells like a pool again instead of a bloody fish pond. So,
and what you just said there is a valid point about it costs you money to do that.
Yeah, bloody oath.
Where me, if something's broken, I just email my real estate agent.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's advantages. So.
And.
So, Bailey, don't hang on the social pressure, mate. Make your own call. You know that.
Fucking oath. That's, fucking oath, because everyone's so tied up with investments. You don't invest your money in something. What about investing in yourself?
Yeah, investing in today, investing in now, investing in experiences. Some of the best years of my life, and the best experiences of my life. And of course, I've been married since 1991, and I've had a wonderful marriage, and I'm married to a wonderful woman. But some of my most critically, like when I go back to those times that I loved, I was surfing or I was watching bands with my mates, And, they are the experiences that money can't buy. They sit there in the back of my mind, and whenever I need to pick up, I go to my experiences. Now, of course, Sharon and I have travelled the world. We've run marathons, and some of that is also part of it. But it's experiences that make your life. It's not that shiny new house that you bought or the four-story mansion to prove to your mates that you can earn some money.
Mate, I've written some amazing songs in my little one-bedroom shoeboxes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's where you get your creativity from. So
exactly.
Hey, mate, I really appreciated you sending me a text the other day to see that I was quite up for surviving the 3-day lockdown up here in Brisbane. Really appreciative. Good that you cared for the man that came out of like 6 months of lockdown. Mate, I thought
I'm still very fragile from it, man. It's going to take a long time for us to repair down here.
Yeah. Well, we've now got a mask mandate up here in Brisbane, so we've got to wear masks.
So, can you talk me through what happened? Because I was at work and I ran into a pilot I used to work with who was moving from Hobart to Brisbane and said he might not be able to get up. I was like, why? What's happened? And yes. So what happened?
I think it caught everyone by surprise. So Friday morning, it was Friday morning. It was just nothing out of the ordinary. And then all of a sudden, I got a message on my phone saying Brisbane's in a 3-day lockdown from 6 o'clock tonight. So no one knew. The biggest shock factor was the surprise. No one even thought it was coming because,
how many
COVID,
cases were there for that to happen?
So one.
What?
One.
What?
It was the new. Yeah. So let me just walk through it. So it was the new variant from the UK, which is apparently
the UK strain.
which is apparently 70% more infectious. I'll talk about that in a sec. 70% more infectious. So they did a short, sharp lockdown because this person that had it had been out in the community for 5 days. They'd been catching a train. So, there was real potential there for it to do some damage. So I'm not going to knock the lockdown. I thought it was a bit of an overreach, but, at the end of the day, I could understand the reasoning behind it, right?
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing since, 0 new cases on the Saturday, 0 new cases Sunday, 0 new cases Monday, lockdown finished. Monday afternoon, the partner of the person that had this new strain of COVID tested positive after previously testing negative. So then that opened up that whole concern of holy shit again. So, but yeah, they locked us down for the one case. And
Jesus.
The other interesting thing, Bailey, was that Sharon and I had arranged to do our grocery shopping Friday morning. So we were prepping to go grocery shopping. And then, of course, everyone's in there filling their trolleys up with, and in all honesty, most of the people we were talking to, because the line, it took you an hour and a half to get through the line to get out.
Fuck.
It wasn't like that when we walked in, I might just add. But in all honesty, I thought the supermarket, I won't mention the brand because I'm sure that they all got banged up, but they really reacted slowly to limits within the store. Like they would have had a COVID safe plan that said only this amount of people, and there was that amount of people in the line, let alone the ones that were trying to shop. So we just did our normal grocery shop. So and there were many times, and funnily enough, we'd run out of toilet paper, so of course we needed toilet paper. But and water, so we'd run out of water, so we needed water. So for us, it was just a normal grocery shop. For the people we were talking to, it was just a normal grocery shop. But it was all the other people that suddenly realised, oh shit, we've come out of Christmas, we've got no food. And so they went and did a normal grocery shop. I didn't see too much evidence of panic buying, but it was just the sheer number of people in the shops suddenly realising we're out of fucking toilet paper or whatever it was. So, and then, of course, you've got all the people on Twitter calling them morons and panic buying. Hey, I was part of that. I'm not a moron. I was just out doing my grocery shop. It was something that we'd planned. So, but yeah, they locked us down for the one case, and the interesting thing, 70% more infectious, Bailey. They had 146 close contacts of this person,
and no one got it.
No one got it. So you just think, okay, 70% more infectious, but then when the partner tested positive 3 days after he initially, or 5 days after he initially tested negative, you're thinking, okay, well, maybe there's still some concern there, and there probably still is some concern that people are going to test positive. But yeah, and now we're wearing masks. And part of me sort of thinks, Bailey, that there's this group of people that get together on a Zoom call, all the leaders of the world, and they sit back and they think, fucking how good's Anastasia? She's got everyone wearing masks, and they don't even have COVID. and then you've got Dan who chimes in and says, hey, we haven't had community transmission for the last 100 days, and all my people are still wearing masks. Someone's laughing at us. They've got to be.
I don't think anyone really likes wearing masks. I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
But COVID in Australia is COVID. Whether it's in fucking Western Australia or Tasmania, make the whole fucking country wear them, because it's so annoying to go interstate to not have to wear a mask and then have to come back and wear one. And it's like, hang on. You know,
we had to wear them in the car. We had to wear them in the car.
Wasn't that a fucking joke?
When we were driving by us. Now I can sort of understand that. So they just wanted to make it simple. Leave the house, put a mask on. So I understand that. They wanted to make it simple. But really, how stupid did you feel in a car by yourself wearing a mask?
It's like wearing a condom when you're not having sex.
Yeah, or you've had a vasectomy. But one of the things that I am really sick of is having my pockets pissed in. So, you know, always having Anastasia or Dan saying how proud they are of the Victorians or the Queenslanders doing the right thing. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You don't have to say that 3 times during a press conference. Just, yeah.
Yeah, it's
anyway,
pretty fucking shit.
So the lockdown, I drank a bit of beer. There was a bit of test cricket on, so all good. Did some laps in the pool. Went for a walk with a mask on one day and then thought, fuck it, I'm not going to do that again. So.
No, see, when I first come here, I was like, I'm not wearing a mask outside. And now we don't have to wear a mask outside. It sort of makes you question why we had to, like... There's just so much grey area. There's not just one rule.
There are so many questions.
And now I think in Victoria we have
So
a traffic light system.
questions.
We have a traffic light system.
Yeah.
Entering Victoria, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whether it's.
Let's just create it. Yeah, let's just create a new. No, it's Victoria. So let's create a new system that no one else has because we're different and we're going to have a new system. So. And like so instead of hotspots we're called a red spot or something like seriously
it's like a fucking traffic light party when if you're green you're good to go, you're single, orange you're not sure, red you're taken.
And you just ask why did you need to have a separate system to what was out there? I don't understand.
Is it for the whole country into Victoria, or is it just for New South Wales?
It's how Victoria classifies the whole country. So Brisbane or Queensland or whatever was red, and that's all that worried me. So
isn't that fucking confusing?
It just you know, there's a guy on YouTube, and I actually really love him because he gets a bit same old. He's a bit of a comedian. I just want to get his name, so I'm just looking it up while we're talking.
Yeah,
but he.
Yeah, you go on. I was gonna.
Where's my subscriptions? Where is it? The YouTube channel is called Awaken with JP, and he's a bit of a.
Oh, is that the redhead dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he's a bit more.
Talking about.
Yeah.
Before, and he got really political, and it's like just go back to doing the gluten free and the vegan, and
so he's gone really like right wing comedy, and he's really consistently having a dig at the left wing. But what I thought was really interesting, he was talking about mask wearing or something, or you know, something about COVID, or you know, he's gone. He's fucking funny, yes. But he raised the question here, and it's he's sitting there as a newsreader, and he says, now in good news, we the flu epidemic and the annual flu statistics have been fantastic. No one's caught the flu and no one's died from the flu, and that's because we're all socially distancing and wearing a mask. On the other hand, our COVID stats, that we have over so many millions of people that have caught COVID and so many deaths, and he said, that's because everyone's not wearing a mask and socially distancing. And I'm just sitting there saying, how fucking real is that? I mean, seriously, you've got to ask yourself, why has the flu just suddenly disappeared from around the world? And everyone's got COVID.
Someone wrote the other day, I've seen it on Facebook or somewhere, because someone changed the name of the flu.
Hey, look, it wouldn't surprise me. It just, nothing would surprise me at this particular stage. This has been going on for far too long, and of course it's had ramifications and people have died, so I don't want to make too much of a light of it. But I seriously just think, oh my God, something, like even the mask mandate. I mean, UK are wearing masks and are locked down. The US are wearing masks, yet the numbers are going through the roof. So
yeah,
it doesn't make.
Why I'm like, why? What's not working?
And they're saying the science says, well, okay, the science may say that, but the statistics that are coming out would still indicate that masks aren't really having a big deterrent on people not having COVID.
As far as I know, California's shut down. I got friends there, and they said everything's shut.
It's
going to be In-N-Out Burger's not.
It's going to be.
My mate was there today.
They need to come to Australia, don't they? Hey, Wahlburgers are coming to Australia.
Yeah. Is it Perth getting the first? No.
Yeah. No, how cool's that?
That's cool.
And Mark's gonna come and live in Australia apparently. So,
is he?
So I think that's pretty cool.
But,
hey, look, before we go, we've been going for 30 minutes already. My God. See what happens when we get on some favourite topics? Let's talk Trump. You've got something to say about Trump, haven't you?
Yeah.
The events at the Capitol.
Well,
the insurgents, the rebellion.
I've said before, I like Trump. I think he's funny. Can I vote? No. Do I agree with his political stand? I don't know his political views. But he lost. Get the fuck out, because look what it's doing to your country. Like,
and Donald,
I'm assuming what happened at the Capitol is, because of Trump, because they're all pro-Trump there and they don't want him to go, and it was rigged. Just take the loss, man.
Yeah, I think his messaging has become very dated now, and I just think, I'm actually thinking from a leadership perspective, because as you know, in between doing this podcast, I do a leadership podcast, and that's my day job. But
that new episode came out today, actually.
Yeah. So
it was called Hold My Beer.
You Hold My Beer 2021.
Yeah,
so
pop up.
So it was just like when I think about Trump, the messaging of election fraud, stealing the election. Now, at the end of the day, you need proof of that. You need someone that you've caught. You need someone saying, yes, I was part of it. And, of course, no one's going to do that if they were. What they could have said is that there were huge inconsistencies and irregularities that need to be investigated. Because then they're not saying it's fraud. They're not saying it was stolen. Because, fundamentally the American voting system from an Australian looking in is just flawed, And
it's fucking weird, man.
It's incredibly weird. And the interesting thing with the American voting system, right? If you're in, say, let's choose a state, Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
Pennsylvania is, I think, primarily a Democratic state, the Democrat state. Now, the way the Electoral College votes work is that, so the way the system, and I'm happy to be corrected if anyone's listening and I've got this wrong, but, each state has their own rules and whatnot, so it really does get quite challenging to understand it all. So people go and vote on a Tuesday, which is, let's make voting on a day that everyone's got to go to work, so that makes a lot of sense in the first place. It's an optional thing, so mostly they get a 60% voting rate. Now, what then happens from that is that with these electoral college votes that they put in for the president, is the electoral college votes for each state have actually got the ability to override what the vote was for their state. So you can if you can remember some of the rhetoric that Trump was putting pressure on some governors to override the vote, and so the public could have said Biden, and obviously a lot of the public did say Biden. So just say state of Pennsylvania. Let's call it Biden and Trump, right? Republic of Pennsylvania said, we're voting for Biden, and he got so much more votes than Trump. The Electoral College then, within that state, can then say, we're going to disregard that because we think Trump is the better. So the Electoral College votes can then go to Trump, which is what determines the president, which makes your vote as a person no sense.
Irrelevant.
So why don't they just... Yeah, so it's crazy. And everyone's got their own systems, and it's just... It is a flawed system. And when you've got flawed systems, as you know, people take advantage of flawed systems. So do I believe Biden got 81 million votes? Absolutely not. Do I believe Trump got 75 million votes? No. So there's flaws in the system. When there's flaws in the system, people take advantage. I know that when I was running my Bunnings stores, if I didn't have someone on that front door, I knew people were just going to walk out of the place without paying for stuff. That's the reality. They target the weak spot and away they go. So it's the same with any system. If you've got a weakness in the system, people will target it and take advantage of it. And I think when, hopefully, I can't actually see it happening now, but, they should have a overhaul of the whole voting process in America, but they won't. So, but Trump's lost. So
he's lost. Get out, man.
Yeah. So Trump's got to go. And in 10 days he does go, so who knows? 8 days now from Australia. Bailey, as always, it's been awesome.
Pleasure,
36 minutes in. So, hitting all the big news around the world. What's happening for you in the next couple of weeks? We talked about your negative COVID test, didn't we, last time? So
we did, yeah. Negative.
So you got no snuffles?
Nah, I'm good.
I upset one of my friends yesterday because I wanted to have a pre-lockdown beer with him before 6 o'clock on Friday, and he didn't get home in time. So I said, let's have a post-lockdown beer. So at 6:02, I was over at his place. He just lives down the road. And we're having a beer, and I mentioned his wife works with a major retailer. And we were just talking about testing because, fundamentally, I'll get some facts and figures around this for our next one. But, there's, out of the amount of tests, I think 26 million has now been done in Australia, and we've got a 0.1% success or positive rate out of those tests. And I was just saying, think of the fucking cost that has. So COVID just hits us everywhere with what's happening. And Carol said, but isn't it great that they're testing? I said, I would never get one. And you should have seen, it was like I said something about a mother or something. It was just
Yeah, I felt like I got one just to fucking make everyone happy, and you should never do something to make someone happy. But then I'm like, you know what?
But it's part of your job too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because, if someone fucking in the airline...
I'd just stay at home. If I was feeling sick, I'd just lock myself in my office and... live here for 2 weeks. So
what's happening for me? Not this weekend. Next weekend after, I'm up to Canberra for the night.
Oh, Wooshka.
To record, which is I haven't done since.
Fingers crossed, hey.
I haven't done like a day session, like a full day since Feb.
Yeah.
So I'll fly
fingers
up in the
crossed
morning.
that this UK or now the South African variant of this mutated virus doesn't close us all down again.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I'm just sort of looking at the numbers in Victoria, and we're back to 000. So but someone had a good. Yeah, someone had a good point the other day because I said, I'm going to Canberra, and they're like, COVID. They haven't really had any cases in Canberra because no one wants to go there. Canberra gets shit. I like Canberra.
What does it say about a city where COVID doesn't even want to come and visit? So, but no, Canberra's done really well. I mean, let's, and it's the coldest place in Australia. So if anything was going to have COVID, it should have been that place. But they've done really well, obviously, to keep it at bay. So.
Yeah. So what have you got coming up? between now and our next podcast, Curly?
You know, I've got a couple of things that are happening. I've got a little bit of interest on some stuff that's happening in the States that might be heading my way as well. So a little bit excited about. I don't get too excited about opportunities now because I think so many people offer you opportunities, and then all of a sudden, once you've looked at them and really assessed them and really thought about them, it really isn't an opportunity. It's an opportunity for them to get you on board, but it's not necessarily an opportunity to grow business.
Just like buying a house.
Yeah, absolutely. So that looks really promising. But and I've got a couple of workshops coming up, and that'll finish the month off well. So fingers crossed, we're allowed to just keep going.
Yeah, cool.
Alrighty. As per
mate.
always, Bailey and Curly Unfiltered, we're available on all good podcast platforms, and we're also on a couple of shockers. Now, if you did like what we talked about, please review. If you hated it, send it to your friends. So, we don't mind the odd 1-star review. We've had a couple, so why not? So this is just what we talk about. So thanks for tuning in, as per always. Thank you,
Thanks,
Bailey, once again. And
thanks, Kelly.
We shall see you all next time.
Thank God that's over. If you didn't like it, leave a review to warn others, or share it with people you want to annoy. If you did like it, I'm sorry, you cannot be helped, so you may as well leave a good review. I guess the boys will appreciate it. As Curly would say, don't be an asshole. Hopefully, I won't see you next time. Goodbye.